Greetings! Another cozy Tuesday falls before us. Welcome to the Edge of Darkness, episode 2. Before I hand it over to our keeper of arcane lore, allow me to read a journal that was in the golden sarcophagus last week that we skipped over so we could do some role play. I've been asked to tell the tale in this journal. There are 4 parts from 1877. So grab a tasty beverage and settle in. I'll put it over here so you guys can see as well. February 27th, 1877. Marion Allen has acquired an artifact, purportedly Egyptian. It appears to be a small sarcophagus of gold. Inside is a large piece of amber which entraps a specimen of some unknown species of arthropod. Allen is very excited, as the box corresponds to a description he found in an ordinary reference volume in the university's Orne library. Allen says that in another book, De Vermis Mysteris, is an explanation of the powers of the box. The text says the small animal trapped in the amber is actually the host to a bound Djinn, a guide to the spirit world. Allen says the tome mentions that originally there were 4 such pieces of amber contained in the box. There is no mention what happened to the other 3. We are agreed and a date has been set to conduct a ceremony intended to summon the Djinn, which Allen assures us will be friendly. We have chosen the night of Saturday, the 18th of March, the night before the full moon. March 19th, 1877. We began the ceremony as Allen instructed according to that described in De Vermis Mysteris. A fire is set in the fireplace and a pentagram chalked on the floor, marked with appropriate symbols and illuminated by 2 black tapers placed near the center, flanking the piece of amber with its entrapped spirit. The others sit in a circle, while I, the designated watcher who guards for malevolent spirits, sits in one corner of the room. At least I get the comfort of a chair, while the others can look forward to sitting on the floor for hours. Allen throws a handful of powder in the fire, producing an evil-smelling smoke and dampening the flames, which now burn a sputtering green and brown. Those seated on the floor begin the Latin chant Allen has transcribed from his book. After nearly 2 hours, I see a trail of smoke circling up from the piece of amber. Its surface seems to be bubbling and melting. Can this be? Have we finally achieved success? I can see a form. March 20th. We have finished with our plans and have sworn a pact never to speak of what happened last night. We have satisfactorily explained the death of poor Robert, and in some manner the madness of Harold. The sheriff accepts the explanation of a carriage accident. We planned it well. Robert's neck was broken in the fall, we told him. Harold struck his head on a rock when the horse's leg broke and the carriage rolled. Would it be that it was only that? For the rest of us, we will be forever changed by what we experienced last night. I will write down the true events so they are not lost completely. The thing formed in the center of the pentagram, shapeless and nearly invisible. Its terrible voice should have given us a clue, but we were so foolish. It spoke then. Allen cast that damn powder on the Djinn, the dust of Ibn Ghazi, he calls it, and that's when we could all see it clearly. Words cannot adequately describe the faceless thing with 1,000 maws. It roiled and bubbled, never fully revealing itself at any one time. So terrifying was its aspect that I was frozen in place, my pen falling from my nerveless fingers. Cecil and Allen seemed as lifeless as myself, while a short, sharp cry issued from Crawford's mouth. Robert, however, rose to his feet, and before anyone could stop him, stepped forward as though to embrace our horrible guest. I think I've got to find the next one. There it is. We now believe, with its arms or those appendages that seemed most like arms. It took hold of poor Robert and twisted his head around as though he was a doll. The lifeless corpse was then thrown back in Harold's lap, and that's when we began that damnable shrieking, the shrieking that hasn't stopped since, ever after we handed him over to the sheriff's men. We still had a chance, apparently. Alan now believes that if we had kept our wits, we could have reversed the summoning and forced the creature back to wherever it came from. But Crawford panicked, and mistakenly believing that it would dispel the creature, reached forward and destroyed part of the pentagram, breaking the seal and ending its effectiveness. Released from that binding symbol, the thing, with a screech that could only have been unholy satisfaction, was ejected from the house, disappearing out the window as a roaring, screaming wind of boiling colors. March 24th. Alan intends to leave Arkham and travel to find a solution to this crisis. He said that he intends to seek out occult scholars in New Orleans. I pray he is successful, but my hopes are not high at this point. He insisted I be custodian of the golden sarcophagus and not show it to anyone. What's even more odd is he instructed me not to visit or even live in Boston. I can only guess as to why. He will not tell me his reasoning apart from his insistence that it's for my own safety. Marion still thinks that thing could yet be destroyed or at least dispelled. But none of us who remain have the stomach for such an undertaking. I hope he can find a way to safely banish it without another of us falling in its malevolent grip. We now believe that the spell we cast to summon it inextricably bound the thing to the house. Alan went back this morning to retrieve some of our belongings and store our ritual accoutrements. He says that he heard it bumping around the attic over his head, cursing him all the while. He said that it also told him that it only has to wait us out. When we who are present are all dead, it will roam the earth freely, slaughtering and feasting. Thankfully, the warding signs carved by Alan during better times that seem so long ago now, apparently are effective and bar the thing entry except in the attic of the farmhouse. I might be able to sleep a few hours tonight knowing it's bound and cannot harm anyone else. I'm hopeful for the first time since we stupidly released it from the amber. If I told him the truth, then we have time to seek the answer. God be with you in your search, my friend. October 14th. The final entry. I just discovered that Marion Allen is dead and has been dead for some months now. He was murdered in New Orleans this past August. I suspect that he spoke to the wrong sort of people about the things he's seen, and they killed him. The newspaper mentions the sarcophagus, so they may have been after the gold. That is 3 of us gone now. I must do something. I've already begun ancient history classes at university, so I believe I'll try to research the problem at the farmhouse in that manner. Perhaps I'll uncover an ancient secret of how to rid our world of that beast in my own way. And then the newspaper said, the body of Marion Allen, late Arkham, Massachusetts, was discovered early this morning near the Gulf and Panama docks. A victim of foul play, the man was identified by witnesses who said that Mr. Allen has been seen in the locale the evening before. Although robbery was the apparent motive, police report the victim had gruesome marks carved into his forehead and his tongue had been cut out. Mr. Allen had reportedly gone to the police earlier this week claiming that he was being followed and that he feared for his life. He said his shadowy pursuers were after an Egyptian artifact, which he no longer possessed. And with that read, I will hand you over to our keeper. Take it away.
Good time zones, everybody. Welcome to Call of Tuesday. This is Edge of Darkness Part 2. We started off with our investigators all meeting at the library at a university in a place called Arkham. There they were met by Elsie Lake, secretary of Professor Nevada Jones. They're all ushered in, taking their seats, and the good professor walks in and introduces himself and introduces the reasons why they were summoned. A good friend of his, Rupert Merriweather, reached out to him, who was currently dying in a nearby hospital, asked Professor Jones to look into something for him, but the professor was busy and instead enlisted our investigators to go visit him at the hospital on Thursday, 1 p.m. They all took their leave, had a good rest, and met at the appointed place and time where they met Rupert Merriweather. And as they walked in, they saw his wife and son grieving as their father and husband slowly dying. Upon ushering them out, Rupert Merriweather explained the reasons why the group was summoned. It appeared him and 5 others back in the early days purchased a farmhouse and obtained a golden sarcophagus. They used this farmhouse to do a lot of occult and dark magic practices, and one fateful night they released an entity to the house. They were able to keep it confined to the house, but were unable to banish it. And over time, as each of the party members passed away, Rupert admitted he was the last of the group, and he feared upon his death the entity will be free to do what it will. It was at this point where Rupert suddenly sat up, big coughing spasm, looked towards one of the party members, Blake Rawlings, and covered him in blood, sent him into a little sanity check. And after the coughing fit, he soon passed away. Upon being ushered out of the room due to the hysteria of the eldest son, Bertrand, demanding the investigators to leave, they went to Leonora's penthouse suite in the hotel, where they opened up a box that was given to them by the late Rupert Merriweather. Inside they found deed and a key to the farmhouse, a letter left by Rupert Merriweather, the sarcophagus, and a journal entry which we just recently heard. It was at this point the team decided that they wanted to do further investigation. So Blake, Elsie, and Wilfred left to go to the university to do some investigation, while Donald and Lenora stayed behind. The team that went to the library were able to manage to collate information regarding the death of Marion Allen, were able to find out information regarding the sarcophagus, and some very, very less detailed information about some runes carved in the underside of the sarcophagus, which turns out to be a lost ancient language of Mu. And it was kind of getting towards this point where we left off and ended the session. So before we go to our investigators left at the university, just want to check in with our friends Donald and Lenora. What are you guys doing at this particular time?
You're muted, by the way.
We are sitting down discussing tarots and beliefs, and Donald is sipping whiskey while the marital aid that I was given by Mr. Swanson is still sitting on the coffee table while I am still scratching my head as to why he gave it to me.
Can we move that to another place? I'm sure it's for you. I'm sure you'd like to do it in the privacy of your bedroom. Just not have it on the table, please.
No worries, Donald. I might just go put it in my room. And I walk off to the bedroom and put it in the bag that baby would normally sit in.
Make sure you mark off that you have that in your inventory now. We've already discussed the potential weapon damage and such it will do. So if and when the time comes, we know what needs to be done. And what else happens at this point of time between Donald and Leonora?
I'd like to invest more time into Lenora and find out what it is she actually does, her work and all that.
Take it away.
So, Lenora, what it is that you actually do? I mean, you can afford nice, expensive, lavish stuff, but none of us, well, I, for one, don't know what you do.
I run a successful cafe back at home.
A cafe?
Yes, very successful cafe. It is quite well known back in New York. Cafe Noir, I don't know whether you've ever heard of it, but yeah.
I'll have to go there one day.
You would be more than welcome, I am sure. I will let my staff know that you will be allowed to sit up the back and you get free coffee anytime you like. Or, if you want, a whiskey.
So it's just not a coffee house then? It's more...
Oh no, it's definitely a coffee house. We just maybe occasionally have a shot or 5 to go off on a yes anyway.
Okay. And I'll continue sipping on the whiskey.
I get up and I pour myself a whiskey as well.
All right. And is that where the conversation sort of continues on throughout the night until you're waiting for your rest of your party members to return?
Yep.
Okay. So we will head back over to the university where Wilfred, Blake, and Elsie just finished up finding out about the, well, unfortunately not finding out too much about the lost language of Mu. So what are you three doing at this particular time?
I mean, we found out it was lost. Definitely. So just a keeper question, the reading of the diary, that was information we would have coming into the university?
Correct.
That was read out back at the apartment?
Correct.
Okay. With that now in mind, Blake would probably make another phone call before meeting Elsie.
All right. And, well, you know where the phone booths are, so you're more than welcome to go do that. Are you leaving Wilfred on his own? Elsie, you still with Wilfred at this time?
I'm with Wilfred.
Yeah, I will excuse myself with meeting them and saying, "Hey, look, I shouldn't make a quick phone call. I think I know someone who may have some more information on the Djinn and the symbol. We may need to possibly bind it at least."
Okay, we'll meet you at Dr. Jones's office then. I'll ask about supplies for the car.
Right.
I need to use the bathroom, though. You can't really get a gauge on a place until you've gone to the bathroom.
But you just went to... Okay, well, they're over there. Do you need me to wait for you, or are you good?
And you will be...
I'll be over there at that door over there. That's Dr. Jones's office.
I think I can manage. Thank you.
All right. And I will head to Dr. Jones's office, but make sure he goes through the right door before I walk away.
All right. Okay. I guess we start with Wilfred. You just go into the loo, and that's the business.
He's straight down to business. It'd take him a while to get there, but he'd get there.
And what is he thinking at this particular time, other than obviously needing to go? What's in his thought process at the moment?
He's wondering why he's here. and as he said, you don't know the value of a place until you've checked out the facilities. So it's important.
Very good. All right, Blake, we'll go over to you. And as you're heading over the phones, the same kind of question. What's going through your mind at this particular point?
Just sort of casting his mind back on the journal and what was said about the pentagram, and that the pentagram was broken, allowing this creature to basically roam free within the house. Thinking back to some of the stories that he would have been told as a child from his mother and his grandmother and members of the family, he thinks that his mother may have a little bit more of an understanding of what this particular symbol, the exact type of pentagram that was used, and at least get that information, which may help them in possibly either binding this thing or at least protecting themselves a little bit more once they get to the house. So hasn't spoken to his mother for a while. They normally write to each other. She's not really good on the phone. She has one. Whether she answered it or not, I don't know. But he is going to actually call her because it's kind of important.
All right. So, yep, you go to the phone booth, and you dial the operator, or you would know the number straight away. Yep. So, dial in. Obviously, it does take a little bit, but you kind of know, obviously, being your mother, it takes her a little while to get to her phone, and eventually she does pick up. And hello.
Bonjour, Mama. It is Blake.
Oh, my dear boy, how are you?
I'm okay. This is not a social call, I'm afraid. I need some information that I think you may be able to help me with. Something I'm working on here in Arkham. What do you know of a Djinn, Mama? I have heard stories. I remember some of the stories you told me as a child. Pertaining to symbol, symbolism, the pentagram used to summon and potentially bind said entity.
Oh, I mean, some of them could be looked as kind of angelic genies of sorts. Some are good, some are bad. To some of them, it depends on the type of entity itself. Each of them, kind of has their own name, and some may have, they're greater, and there's like stronger, like there's kind of levels. And depending on the type of one you're wishing to summon will vary on the ritual and pentagrams and summoning items that you may need. So there's not like a generic, if you will. There's not like a standard one that, I can just give you this and this will summon them all. Is there...
I'll give her as much information I have. The sarcophagus, the Egyptian markings, the Movian runes or writings on the inside, the information about the amber and what was inside it. As much as information as we have from the journal.
You get she has a bit of a stop and think for a moment, and she would probably like you kind of hear the phone put down. She doesn't say anything, but you kind of get the impression that the receiver's being put down, and you kind of can hear some footsteps, and she comes back, and you hear kind of on her table, you can kind of hear like a bit of a thump, like she's putting down something. And she picks up, and you kind of hear her flipping through pages. Look. I think this one is going to be something that I don't have written down. Like I said, there's different rituals, different rituals for different types. Even just with what you've given me, I can't really pinpoint what I can tell you. And while you're having this conversation with you, can you roll a known roll for me, which is your education roll?
Education. It is not rolling. Why is it not rolling?
I think Yanti said she had to restart, so you may need to refresh in. If you want to roll just the standard D100, if you've got regular dice, that's okay as well.
Should take me a couple of seconds here.
Blake's intelligence is 90, so if you need to.
Yeah, my education's not as high as that, but just about. That would be a failure.
Okay.
Actually, can I push that?
Okay, so you got two options here. You can push the roll if you wish, but pushing the roll could have a more detrimental effect.
Okay.
If it's
what is my other option?
Your other option is you can spend luck points to how much off was your roll to be a success?
By 1.
You can spend 1 luck point to
2,
make that a success, or 2.
I'll spend 2 luck points to
Okay.
make the success.
Okay. So mark that off your sheet.
I have, thank you.
So yeah, you kind of having a bit of a think as your mother is. At this point, she's really starting to rambling on. She's kind of gone off on a little tangent with, kind of tying it all into more of her voodoo background rather
Which is
than
what I was afraid of.
Yeah. So as she's just waffling on, you kind of sitting there and for a moment you're just trying to recall back all the information. Obviously, being a journalist that you are, you pay attention to detail. You've written notes, and you flip them back and forth on your notepad, because as you've mentioned a few times, you're meticulously writing down things.
Yeah.
You accidentally skip, like you turn a page, but actually picks a couple off. So you actually miss this page. But something just tells you that you need to go back, and this time you get to the right page where you've made a note in the letter Rupert Merriweather left said that everything that you need will be at the farmhouse.
Okay. And once I find that, I wouldn't want to interrupt her. I'd wait for an opportunity where she takes a pause and then sort of chime in.
Yeah, so she's going on here, and then, we had Alice and Regina, and we got this, like, we were in this circle, and it was like really crazy, and the shelves are shaking, and things are falling off the table, and like it was really rattling, and she kind of stops for a moment to, think about what she, what's the next part of the story that she's telling you.
Mama, I think you've given me more than enough than what I need here. I appreciate you taking the time to have a look and information. I think I might have found exactly what we need. I will write you. I'll write you at the end of the week, as usual.
And I had 2 lovely gentlemen come and visit me today.
That is good. I did speak to the police chief earlier today, and he did say he was going to send someone over to check on you.
Yeah, so that's kind of why it took me a bit to pick up the phone, but I guess this is costing you money, so...
That's fine, Mama.
I look forward to your letter, son.
And I'll come and see you soon. I promise.
All right, my dear boy. Au revoir.
And I'll hang up the phone and head back towards Professor Jones's office to wait for Elsie.
Okay. So while that's happening, Elsie, you have gone into the professor's office, and he's already just sitting at his desk, and his head's kind of buried in some paperwork and trying to finish off the last sort of details of what happened to Kiko and friend, and he kind of tilts his head back in his chair and takes a breath, and then he opens up his eyes and he sees you standing there, and kind of confused looked on his face. Says, "Well, what are you doing here, Elsie?"
Hi, boss. I was just trying to be extra careful, and wondering if What supplies should we take in the car on this expedition? Because, I mean, is there a standard supply kit that we need of weaponry or lanterns?
I guess I guess it's also depending where you're going. But, you know, I would, you know, I'll take some source of light just in case, you know, you got to go, you know, into some tombs or some caves or something like that. You know, I really enjoy going into those places. You never know what you can find. They're fascinating places. And he kind of rambles on a little bit, and so you probably, you know, if you're going into places like that, you probably want some rope, maybe some first aid kits, you know, maybe some of the, I mean, it's not very nutritious, but you know, maybe some of the tin foods, you know, because you never know. You can be, you know, sometimes you can go to these places and you'll be in the middle of nowhere where there's no shops or anything like that. You know, I mean, I always carry, you know, and he kind of taps the side of his belt buckle. You know, I'm always carrying my my 38 with me.
Oh, okay. So we should go packing then.
Oh, I mean, you know, there's groups out there that are looking for us. You know, they may be aware of, you know, artifacts and stuff that we already have in our possession.
Oh.
You know, and if they know you're from the SEU, they may try and, I don't know, be unscrupulous.
And we got.
So you want to be able to protect yourself.
We've got these supplies kind of like in the back or something, like some torches and stuff that I can just.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And is this
Yeah.
secretary wages? Because I feel like, you know, I should have some combat pay or maybe some hazard. Maybe like up at $1.50, maybe.
Look,
I say charmingly.
And he kind of looks at you going, my dear, you know, if you go see Alfred down at the Lost and Found section, he'll hook you up with whatever you guys need.
Oh, okay.
Everything for this particular expedition we're taking care of because Rupert is a dear friend. It's you know, I pulled a few strings, so whatever you guys need, it's taken care of.
Wilfred will love the Lost and Found. Are you sure he's fit for the job? I mean, he's a bit.
He's a bit what?
You've met him?
I mean, only at the at the library. I mean, you know, we got all the, you know, we get all the applications in daily, and you know, just looking at some of his, you know, his knowledge and
he was pretty.
you know, he's very good with history. You know, he's got good knowledge in Latin, which may come in handy. You know,
Okay.
he seems very capable. I mean, don't judge a book by its cover.
Oh, all right.
He may surprise you.
All right. And one last thing, I need you to feed back up for me.
You know, I'll be more than happy to go check on backup and see where that little rascal is up to. It's been a while since I've seen the pup. So yeah, don't worry. Look, while you're away, backup is in good hands. I'm not going anywhere. You can see, and he's kind of pointing at his desk, and it's full of paperwork. It's all misjumbled and in a huge mess. And this is something that you're used to. That while he's good at what he does, he's very disorganized, but he knows where to find things when he needs it. So it's kind of like, he's going to be where he is for a while.
Yeah, you look like you need a secretary. I'm gonna go. I'll go tell the others that we gotta go to Lost and Found, and we'll get started. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna shut the door, and if Blake's right there, I'm gonna relay to him I left Wilfred at the lavatories, but the Lost and Found, we speak to Albert. He can get us hooked up with some lanterns and all kinds of stuff for the trip.
All right. I suppose we should make sure Mrs. Swanson is okay, I guess. I'm not sure if he's... Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Are you all right?
The bathroom was quite fascinating. I thought maybe they had this fancy French bidet, but it turns out it was a very low-lying sink, and I think I've got some water on my trousers.
Oh. Yep.
It's all right though. It's just water. I promise you.
All right.
Yes. Water.
Do we have everything we need, except for obviously getting supplies? But we should probably head back to the hotel. I mean, I'm sure Nora and Donald will be missing us about now, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, by this time you guys have been away for a good 2 or 3 hours. So, at this point, you had your probably hour or so with Rupert. You probably had an hour or so back at the hotel, and maybe a couple. So it is getting, towards that 5 p.m., 6 p.m. mark. So, yeah, and you kind of... Elsie will know that this is around about the time where most of the facilities and faculties start closing up for the day.
So we will head down and we get the torches. We'll get some flashlights. We'll get some rations, and pack the car, and we'll head to the hotel.
How many do you get of
torches? Probably one for each. And
are we talking like the flashlight torch?
Old-timey flashlights, and I don't know if there were batteries back then. I'm sure they had batteries back then.
Yeah,
Blake
kind of
would
like
suggest a couple of kerosene lanterns as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
at very least.
Yep. So the flashlights themselves, they are more of a bulb rather than like obviously what we know today.
Yeah, they were notoriously unreliable.
Yep. And Blake will kind of perk up and say, look, if there's some kerosene lanterns, they can last up to 4 to 8 hours on a single filling versus the flashlights, which could last 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And over time, the bulb will just go dimmer and dimmer and dimmer.
I would probably say Blake would even suggest forego the flashlights and just go with kerosene lanterns. They're just far more reliable.
I'm taking some.
I know why you're taking some.
Because I know. I worked really hard.
Is there any way to get any amber? I mean, I know that's probably unlikely, but...
Yeah, Alfred kind of looks a little bit quizzingly and kind of said, That's an unusual quest. We really don't get that. But he walks back behind kind of like a counter and closes the door for a moment. And a minute or two later, he kind of reappears with kind of like a Hessian bag of sorts, and empties the bag out on the table, and you can see it's got an assortment of various stones and gems, of which an amber. You can see a chunk of amber there. And so, here you go.
I mean, we might not be able to put it back in, but we could certainly hurl it at the beast, whatever it is, perhaps.
Okay. And he kind of looks at you all and says, "Do you need any, protection?" So he's sort of, if you're looking for knives or weaponry or anything of that nature.
Oh. You muted people.
Muted.
Oops. Blake would sort of just say, "Look, I'm not comfortable with firearms. So I'm okay," and he'll tap his cane.
I'm already carrying, my boy, and he taps his Colt single shot revolver.
I think we should be okay.
All right. So you've got your lanterns, a couple of flashlights, some rope and amber, and if that's all, you kind of he puts it into like a I guess a carry bag, so it's not kind of that blatantly obvious. So that if you walk out into the public, you're not kind of walking out of a university with all this gear and people going, "Why are you getting this out of a university?" kind of library kind of scenario. So
Blake would offer to carry the box or whatever the stuff is in.
all right.
We may return this boy if we don't all die horribly. We will endeavour to bring some of this back. I'm sure it's useful.
Sometimes why it's safer to be behind the desk.
Bye, Albert. And,
Goodbye, Miss Lake.
And now pack the truck and we will head off to...
All right. So it's about this time you get back to the hotel, up to the penthouse. Like I said, it's probably about getting around about very early evening. So it's like about maybe 6 p.m. I will assume you guys knock on the door to be let in.
Yes, it's a polite thing to do.
While Donald and Leonora are talking, you're knocking on the door.
Auntie Nora, you decent?
Of course, Elsie dear, come in.
Hey.
Why would she ask you that question?
What do you
Never
need?
mind.
We left you ample time. You could have gotten up to all sorts of things.
We were too busy talking about beliefs and just finding out some information about each other.
Mm-hmm.
First stage of courtship. Mighty fine.
Yeah, I'll pass, thanks. But I have rang down for room service for some dinner for everybody.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you. I'm absolutely famished.
Nothing too extravagant, as it was a little bit of a late order, but some pasta and there's some eggs, and they said they'd throw some stuff together for us.
We found some information that these Blake and Wilfred will probably be able to explain better than me. We got some supplies.
Oh, I'm glad we got some supplies then. That's handy. Thank you, Elsie dear.
I believe Wilfred would probably be able to explain more so than even I. He has done exceptionally well at discovering said information about the hieroglyphs on the sarcophagus. The other language is unfortunately going to take a lot of time to find out what it is. Time we do not have.
Well, have any of you gone to a possible haunted place? I don't know what we're headed for.
I've been to many places that are supposed to be haunted, as you say. I'm yet to find anything of that nature, but I'm not a disbeliever. If these men, Mr. Rupert and his friends, say that what they have unleashed is there, then we have no reason to disbelieve the man.
Donald, you're pretty good at the occult, you said, with the readings and stuff, so you should be able to convince whatever's there to...
I can always try.
Preferably sober.
I've only had a few.
Just glancing over at the whiskey on the table.
He's only had one, I promise. The other one was mine, Blake.
The one thing I can tell you, with my experiences with the dark arts, I do not want to go into these things with less than all of your faculties in check.
Of course. What kind of person do you think I am?
I don't really know. I don't know you that well, sir.
We're
Just
in
imparting some wisdom.
Okay.
Was not meaning to be offensive by any means.
I've only ever dealt with benevolent spirits. Nothing of this nature. It should be quite fascinating.
In the small amount of research I've done, I did get this, and I'll put the police report from Marion Ellen down on the table. This is a police report from New Orleans. Death of Marion Allen. A little bit of information that was not released to the public in there. But also I spoke to my mother. She has dealings with the occult. Her family has a long history in it, in fact. But it appears that I was a little hasty in that, as everything we need, apparently, to potentially deal with this entity is at the farmhouse already. According to Mr. Rupert.
Well, that's at least some information that we didn't know before. Or did we know and just not pay attention?
I wrote it down and it just slipped my mind. I tend to write everything down and come back to it later.
I understand that all too well, Blake.
But it appears that not only was Mr. Allen's tongue removed, but also his heart. So whether this was ritualistic or not, and it was surgically removed. It was not torn out or removed by some beast or animal.
So...
But apparently surgically.
You think they're gonna come after us and do the same thing?
I would not rule it out, to be fair.
Not if I've got anything to do with it, LCD. I'm sure all of us together will be fine.
Maybe when we go, we should watch to make sure we're not followed.
I believe that's a very good idea.
I think taking the longer route would be a good idea this time around.
So I guess the question here is, are we to be leaving this evening or in the morning?
Well, I thought this evening, but it's all up to you all. I mean, I'm fine to leave whenever. I just want to eat first. And
I believe we should all rest up, seeing as our esteemed colleague here pointed out that we've had a few drinks. We need to be clear-headed.
Maybe we can ask the people in the town about the house?
And accommodation as well, I guess.
Who used to live there or something, yeah.
I'm sure I can sort out some arrangements with the hotel to either fit you all in up here with me. After all, it is the penthouse suite. There is plenty of room. Or there might be some extra rooms at this hotel, if you would like.
Much obliged. Might account of you.
Well, when our room service arrives, I will leave a message with the bellboy, and hopefully they will sort something out for you.
Which is around about this time where there's another knock on your door.
I'm coming. Head over. I open up the door. See that.
It's just the bellboy
Bellboy.
with the food.
Why, thank you very much. And I put my hand into my pocket, hand over $2 in coins, which is a lot of money back then.
His eyes light up with the generosity and thank you, Miss Shea. Greatly appreciated. Oh, yeah, and he's a little bit chuffed with himself with getting this kind of tip.
Would you be able to do me a favour, oh dear sweet boy? I need either some extra beds made up here or some rooms for my friends that have come to visit. Would you be able to sort that out for me by any chance?
I'll go talk to the manager and see what we can do for you.
That would be great, thank you. We've got a lot of catching up to do, so if you don't mind, just come back and let me know, and thank you very much for the food. And I will in the trolley, and the food smells amazing.
Oh,
So-
absolutely. You guys can smell as the trolley's being wheeled in, you can smell all the wonderful aromas that are coming from the tray. You can see there's a variety of foods, as Leonora mentioned earlier. There's actually some beverages as well supplied. So as you sit down and chow in, it's up to you guys where you go from here.
Nora, I make that in a week. $2.
Well, the cafe is doing very well at the moment, dear.
Yeah, the cafe, yeah. I've had
Cafe
some-
Noir.
Miles used to get me that. Never mind, let's not talk about that asshole.
Yes,
Let's just eat.
we better not talk about him, especially in front of our guests.
Alright. Well, looks like we got a room, and we'll meet here in the morning after all of our dinners are done, and... Yeah? You need the bathroom, Wilfred? It's... You know where it is, you already...
No, I'm all right for now. Thank you, my dear. Very thoughtful of you.
Yeah. So you mentioned a present you got her, and you didn't say what it was.
Oh, well, I spent some time with a very fascinating fellow, Mr. Crowley, who was investigating the powers of sexual magic. Have you done any research yourself?
Oh, I used to do a lot of research with yeah, a little bit.
And I off Elsie like you did. What, my dear?
I'm not familiar with this Mr. Crowley, Wilfred. You care to explain a little further what his studies are? You said sexual magic. Fascinating.
During his time in the States, yes. Although there was some quite concerning things with the Germans. It's probably best I don't speak about Mr. Crowley openly. He's not well received in these parts these days.
A lot of close-minded people. around these days.
But it seems to have worked. Your auntie and that young boy seemed very enthusiastic to see her at the door.
Oh, is that what you did? You cast, like, sex magic on the bed and stuff?
I mean, it's got all sorts of properties. It
Oh,
really
yeah.
does. Yeah, I've got some... No, maybe not during dinner.
Huh. Well,
If we make it through, I've certainly got some things.
I would tend to agree. Not quite appropriate dinner conversation.
Rightly so, yes.
And Elsie is choking on her pasta.
Elsie's not choking on her pasta. Auntie Nora is. Elsie's wondering what kind of magic Donald does now. She knows nothing of the occult.
So as the dinner goes on, you're starting to finish up. There's another knock on the door.
Would you like me to get that, Mr. Nora?
Thank you, Blake. That would be lovely.
Excuse me. And Blake would go to the door and greet whoever is at the door.
So there's a sort of shortish, sort of stocky gentleman in a, fairly, I suppose you can say, a good-looking suit. Has the name George on the front, badge with manager. And he says, I'm looking for Miss Shea, please."
Good evening, sir. Just one moment. And I'd walk back and Miss Lenora, I believe it's the manager here to talk to you.
Do you mind letting him in, please?
Of course.
Blake? Thank you very much.
Please come in, sir.
So he walks in. And you can see that you're all at the dinner and whatnot. He says, apologies for interrupting during your meal, but this won't take long. Bellhop mentioned that you want extra beds set up or extra rooms for, I assume, your guests here.
Yes, thank you, George. I've had my friends come and visit at the last minute, totally unexpected, of course. And just instead of them finding somewhere else to go, do you mind potentially setting up some extra beds up here or even having a spare room or two? Do you have anything available today?
Oh, this is summertime. It's our peak period. So, we don't really have very many rooms left. But look, there's a last minute cancellation. I can fit I got 2 rooms which will fit 2 people per room.
Well, that will work if you don't mind sorting that out for me, please, George. Elsie can share my room, and she's my niece, so we don't mind. And I'm sure somebody could sleep on the couch if you would like. But those rooms would be great, and I will sort that out, payment for tomorrow or something. That would be lovely. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
So he's already kind of look. The rooms are already prepared because of the cancellations, and he pulls out 2 sets of keys and he leaves them on the bench nearby. So there's 2 room keys for, like I said, it's a room for 2 people per room. So whoever wants to go in. So there's enough room for everybody, in short. And as well, if that's all, Miss Shea, I will bid you all good night. And yes, we can sort out the end bill upon your departure.
I stand up and walk George out. Thank you, George. I appreciate your help. I definitely wasn't expecting my niece and our friends to visit at this last minute when I came to stay. So I appreciate you sorting this out for me. I know that it's your busy time. And I hand George a $5 note.
Which he quietly takes and slips it into his pocket and says, "Thank you very much. You have a good evening, ma'am. If there's anything else, you just need to call front reception and we'll look after all of your needs."
Well, thank you. Again, I appreciate it. Good night, George. And I shut the door.
Yeah. So you've got 2 keys to these rooms. They're a level down from what you can tell by the room numbers, and obviously using the elevator to go up and down, you figure out that, you know, each of the keys have a floor number and a room number, and they're both on the same floor, virtually next to each other. What do you guys do from here?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting rather late, so I will retire.
Okay. So Donald is going to take one of the keys off the bench, I assume?
Yep.
Who's going to go with whom?
Blake would probably talk to Wilfred and offer to share a room with him.
Okay.
Blake seems rather interested in Wilfred and his, what's the way to put it nicely, his eccentricity. He's a little, very interesting.
Okay, so Donald, you take one of the room keys. So you pretty much got that room to yourself. Blake and Wilfred, you'll take the other set of keys, and that leaves Elsie and Eleonora up in the penthouse suite, which, you know, there's a spare room there, so there's already a bed made up for Elsie, so nothing really needs to be done there.
Once I bid everyone good night and farewell, and we agree on a time to meet in the morning, I go and make a pot of tea and sit down with Elsie, and I say to her, "My dear, I know me arriving was a little bit of a surprise for you, but as you know, and as I've said, I've spoken to Dr. Jones, and he did say that anytime you were on an investigation, he would let me know. But the main reason of my visit is to let you know that there have been rumours back home.
Shit.
Miles' gang is looking for you."
Shit. I mean,
Yeah.
They didn't follow you here, did they? They didn't know.
No. I took 3 different cars. No one knows that I left. I left no information, no contact, no nothing. But as you know, the Black Roses also knows that I do go missing from time to time. And if anything happens back home, I will have to leave. But I'm sure that they could handle themselves. They are all a bunch of big kids, but they'll be fine. The cafe is fine. So I think we will be okay.
It was no good. He was no good. He should have that blonde bimbo they're looking for instead of me.
Yes, I don't know who that blonde bimbo is. Do you? Do you know who that is?
Who, Miles' mistress? Yeah.
Yes. Stupid bloody woman that woman is, I tell you. I'd like to run her over, and actually Baby would have fun with her. We could leave her a black rose in her mailbox, maybe.
Everyone knows a black rose means it's time to go. But
It's when they get scared and they do silly things, and that's when we find them.
look, I got a new puppy. I'm starting a new life here. I'm all done. I'm on the straight and narrow. No more just going after attractive, expensive men.
Those attractive men, the ones with all the shiny goods, are the ones that lead you into trouble. Trust me. This is why there is no one for me other than baby. You know this.
That being said, Mr. Barnum.
Yes, what about that man? And I sigh and roll my eyes.
Rather
My
attractive.
niece will always be the same.
I mean, after the haunting, maybe, you could get him to, shuffle your deck, deal you some cards,
Not my kind of scene, dear. And please just be careful if you're going to go there.
I am very careful. We're not going to talk about Miles. I'm very careful from now on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I just shake my head knowing everything.
All right, I'm going to go to bed. I'm so glad I'm not with anybody that snores, so. And I'm going to just
That's why I don't have anyone other than baby.
lay back on my bed and just fall in. One of those things. And that's me.
And I head to my bedroom and go to bed.
Very good. All right, so the two ladies retire for the evening. We go to Blake, Wilfred, and Donald. You've made your way down the elevator, selected the appropriate floor, and you found your rooms relatively easily. Blake and Wilfred, you entering your room, it's very, very basic. It's nothing flash in comparison to obviously the penthouse, but it is still you still have a decent view. You can see out through the windows. There's a good view of Arkham and the city lights and the night activity. You kind of can hear just outside the streets some music. Just sort of, it's very, very faint, but you can definitely hear that there's someone playing some music out on the streets, and you can see a lot of the cars going up and down the street. People either going home from work or preparing to have an evening out. So, gentlemen, what do you do at this point?
Blake would firstly, do you mind if I smoke, Wilfred?
No, by all means. We all need to indulge in our pleasures from time to time.
It's a habit, but it calms the nerves. So, you are learned in all manner of things, it seems.
Yes, I've spent much of my life all over the world. I've seen many fascinating things. Should be studied and researched and brought to the rest of the world. I guess that's why I'm doing what we're doing now. Even the horrific things of this world should be looked into and a light shined on them for everyone to see.
I partially agree with that. Some things are better left undiscovered by many, not by all.
Yes.
There are many out there that just cannot comprehend what goes on behind closed doors or in dark shadows.
Yes. You were interested in the research of Aleister Crowley, and he starts rambling on about eroto comatose lucidity. He's like, I would suggest we try it here because it's very beneficial, but the surroundings aren't right, and I don't know you that well, so perhaps not. But then he sort of like starts rambling on about what it is, and I won't do it for stream because I think that's like TOC.
It's pretty close. It'd be very borderline, I would imagine. But Blake he doesn't seem shocked by it. I would say that Wilfred, you'd be able to tell that Blake he's definitely he's not uneducated. He's very intelligent. Takes everything at face value until he knows more about it, kind of thing. And you'll probably notice that as Wilfred starts talking, Blake would actually probably take out a notebook and actually take some notes of his own for his own research, probably later.
Yeah. You get the feeling Wilfred's a man who no longer cares what people think of him, but every now and again he will stop himself and realize that what he's saying is probably not appropriate conversation, like he did at dinner. So, but while you're listening,
and Blake would sort of just nod and say, "Please continue." Like he's very polite. You can definitely tell that New Orleans sort of southern etiquette is instilled in him, so he allows you to just pretty much ramble as long as you want. It's almost a comfort to him. Somewhat you can sort of see he's taking his own notes, and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, and probably smoked several cigarettes over the course of the next 2 or 3 hours while we talk until he would eventually say, "Look, we better get some rest."
Wilfred probably falls asleep in the chair.
If that's the case, Blake would cover him with a blanket and probably leave him there and go to bed himself.
All right, very good. And lastly, obviously, Donald, you enter your room again, similar to what I described earlier. You know, it's a very basic room. Obviously, the amenities, you know, they are of standard. You have a similar view as well out on the lights of the city, watching the cars go by. You can also hear that music. I get the feeling you having this room to yourself is more of a comfort rather than having to share with someone else.
Yep, absolutely.
With your background and who you are. So at this point, you know, you're starting to sort of get familiar with your surroundings, I assume, and what do you plan on doing before you retire for the evening?
Just freshen up, get myself ready for bed, and take mental notes of the day's events. And that's about it.
All right, no worries. So you'll have a good night's sleep. Blake, you kind of have a little bit of I suppose you can say a dream of what happened with Rupert and the blood splatter, but you know, because of your loss to sanity that she had when that event happened, it kind of plays on your mind just a little bit while you're sleeping. It's nothing that will like cause you a nightmare or anything like that, but it's just because of sort of how, I guess, horrific the event might have been to you at that time, and with that loss of sanity point, it's just kind of that little, you know, when you have that quiet moments and you have that little voice in your head, that's all that's referring to.
It would probably be enough to wake him, and he would get up and probably go to the bathroom and re-scrub his hands and stuff. Just, again, background stuff. He's very conscientious about cleanliness and that sort of thing. So just that memory coming back, that fresh, it would wake him, and he would get up and go wash again, just to make sure that he has gotten rid of any of the bodily fluids of the poor deceased gentleman.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. And obviously, when you go back to your bed, you can see Wilfred still there on the chair with the blanket. I assume that you have no plans of maybe moving him to somewhere more comfortable, or just leave him where he is.
Actually, I probably would. I'd remove his glasses because I see he wears glasses. I'd remove his glasses so he didn't break them, I would put them on the coffee table. And how big is Wilfred? Like, what's his build like?
He's pretty wiry.
Okay, I was just on making sure because Blake's a pretty decent sized guy, and he's reasonably muscular. He's got a reasonable strength, so he would move him to the sofa.
Is your build 1, Blake? Just out of curiosity.
I'm trying to think what my size is 65.
There should actually be on your sheet. There's actually a stat called build.
Just trying to look at that. Yes, my build is 1.
Okay. Wilfred is a build of 0, so yeah, you have not very many difficulties just picking them up and putting them in the comfort of the other bed in the room there and get them all comfortable.
I'd probably just move him to the couch. Like, I wouldn't try and move him that far. It'd be just moving him from the chair to the couch, lying him down, grabbing the pillow from the bed, propping it under his head, and covering him properly with a decent blanket so it doesn't get cold.
Easily done. Easily done.
Thank you, Marley. I must have fallen asleep mid-conversation again.
Blake won't even say anything. He'll just smile and nod and just give him a pat on the shoulder and then go back to his bed.
Leonora, you also had a sanity point loss, but you also gained some mythos. So your sleep is pretty, like you also have like just sort of the things that you experience is probably something I'm guessing sort of unusual to you. And just with that loss of sanity point that she had and just that gaining of Cthulhu mythos, you kind of, it's not an unbroken sleep, but it's a good enough sleep, but it's kind of like you just have this sort of unnerving feeling while you're sleeping. And you also recall from when you read the journal that one of the things was that everything that was required would also be in that farmhouse. So, but obviously, you know, it's just the experience of Rupert and just hearing about, you know, this benevolent spirits and Donald's conversations as well. It's just sort of, you know, for you, it just, while you don't quite understand it, and it's not like it doesn't give you any dreams or nightmares or anything like that, you know, you just kind of takes you a while to get to sleep. You kind of have a bit of an uneasy feeling as you're trying to rest up. But once you go to sleep, you know, it's uneventful. You know, you don't have any dreams or anything like that. But just again, you just have that sort of thing in the back of your mind. Is just again that uneasy kind of thought in the back of your head, sort of like you said, what have I gotten myself into? Donald and Elsie, your sleep is again. And Wilfred, for that matter, just the events of the day, you know, just winding down and just getting yourselves prepared to sleep. While you did not lose any sanity from what you experienced and witnessed, you know, each of you just have this sort of, again, Wilfred, you kind of, what am I doing here? Donald's kind of, you know, you sort of wondering what this group's all about and who they are and whether they're trustworthy, and Elsie, you know, you want to keep your, I suppose, charade, if you will, to yourself, but you also kind of know that Professor Jones sent you on this adventure because he knows what you can do, and you kind of starting to prepare yourself in a way that, you know, if you need to do what you need to do, you're ready to go. The morning comes, you all go back to the penthouse. you would know that breakfast is downstairs in the dining area, so you all can go down and have your breakfast or a coffee, whatever the case may be. So you leave the penthouse, you go downstairs, and you just prepare yourselves for the day. I take it all the equipment that was obtained at university is going with you all. Any of the contents of the box going with you, or is that being left in the safe?
Ooh.
I would recommend the box come with us.
All the contents of the box?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would have suggested that it all comes with us.
Okay.
I have a feeling that we may need it.
Blake would agree.
Okay, very good.
I think
So-
Elsie wants something to say.
I was just gonna say, when you're ready, we could take a little break too.
Yes, yes.
Yes, please.
So before we do that, can you all make a spot hidden roll, please?
Oh, my favourite role. That would be a failure.
I didn't do it. Did it work? No.
Pass with a. Well, I think
It's a hard success.
Yeah,
Hard
Lenore.
2 stars.
Yeah.
So everybody else is
Oh,
yeah. Yep, you roll yours too, Elsie, if you haven't.
didn't work. Oh, I'm an idiot. All right. Oh,
Yeah, you clicked the wrong thing.
okay.
Oh, damn. Okay.
There you go.
Rightio. So the gentleman, Blake, Wilfred, Donald, you're completely oblivious to what's going on. You're just enjoying your breakfast, the conversation, the music that's happening. Lenora, you and Elsie notice out of the, as you sort of, with your backgrounds, you're kind of just having a bit of a look around just to see who's in the room, that kind of thing, just sort of casually looking around. Lenora, you swear that you see someone looking at the table's direction, but the moment you set eyes on them, their head turns at that exact moment. So you kind of feel that that's the case, but you're not 100% sure. Elsie, you see the same person, but you catch it a little bit earlier than your aunt, and the two of you lock eyes. And that's the reason why his head turns just as Leonora looks. And with that, we will take a break.
Okay, guys.
Whee!
We will take a brief coffee break and we will be right back. We are back. And we are all refreshed and hydrated, and we have done a Wilfred's and we are ready to go. So, carry on, keeper.
All right. So you're all having breakfast. The two ladies notice a figure kind of looking towards the general area of your table. It's a fairly reasonably warmish morning, being the summertime up there. Lots of really good smells coming from the kitchen. Some good music being played, just to sort of perk you guys up in them, get you in that mood for a morning. lots of business going in and out between waiters and staff going in and out, people coming and going. You know, obviously a lot of conversations happening along the place as well. You can hear, you know, the guy on the corner yelling out the morning newspaper. You know, I can't get your newspaper and such. And as it's you know, getting towards the finishing up your breakfasts and your coffees and or your teas, whatever you prefer, what do you guys do next?
I look over at Elsie and just say to her, "Do we know that gentleman?"
Do you know him?
Gentlemen? What gentleman?
Don't make it obvious, but he's looking at us.
Yeah, he's been looking over at the table, and I've had that feeling that we're being watched. I don't know. It's kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Maybe we take some side roads on the way, you know.
I definitely think so, and maybe we should all, I don't know, I don't want to split up, but I think us leaving all at the same time would be, I don't know.
Well, we could stagger our exits from this place.
Is it just the one man over there?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Swanson, that is that gentleman.
Wilfred's gonna get up and go talk to him.
That's right. Blake was going to do the same. So Blake stands and follows Wilfred.
Excuse me, sir. I'll sort of tap him on the shoulder.
Kind of looking down at his coffee and, you know, sort of circling around, and as you guys get closer to the table, the figure, you can't tell whether it's male or female. It's because the hat's there and the kind of really protecting their the facial features. At this point, they just stand up and walk out.
Oh, I feel like I disturbed their breakfast. It could have been a woman. I'm not sure.
I get the impression, Wilfred, that they did not want to have a conversation. But let's keep our wits about us moving forward.
Certainly.
Maybe you just scared them off.
There's
Probably not a bad thing.
nothing intimidating about me.
It might have been the 6'3" broad-shouldered gentleman that was walking up behind you.
I think so. And sort of nods and smiles at Blake.
All right, so you go.
Sorry. I think that maybe Elsie and I should leave first, and we can still stagger our exits from here. And
I do believe if we stagger the our exits, we could always meet up at the university and carry on from there.
that sounds like
may
a
I
really good
suggest
idea.
we meet at my apartment building, which is only a few blocks from here.
Well, that works too.
And I would
No one would know.
I would
that.
write down the address for everyone. If we all take slightly different routes, it's pretty easy to find. And we all meet there in, say, 30 minutes. And we can proceed on our journey.
Absolutely.
Elsie and I get up and start talking about spending a day going window shopping and spending some money on my niece because I haven't seen her in a long time and I want to spoil her. So we're chatting about money and potentially buying new clothes and all sorts of things like that.
Blake would make a point of, not loudly, but enough so that people would hear, just bidding everyone farewell. It was nice to see you all again. and we will see you all next time you're in town. And excuses himself, puts his hat on, and starts walking to his apartment building.
And I stand, make my goodbyes, and hope to see you at one of my shows. And starts to walk out as well, going in a totally different direction than anyone else has gone yet.
Wilfred would ask to use the phone, and he would call Mr. Marshall to come pick him up.
All right. Which is easily done. Who comes up and meets you at the front of the building, and you just get into the car.
Yep. And I'll get him to drive around a bit, and then
Okay.
go to the address that I've been given.
All right, too easy. As you, within that half-hour period, you all go do your thing. You take your various paths. Look, nothing untoward happens to any of you. You easily meet up at Blake's apartment at the, within that time period. Of course, Elsie and Lenora rock up in the in the car, and you all clamber in to make your journey over to Ross's Corner, which that doesn't really take too long to get there. Well, in these standards, obviously, with the various speed limits that are enforced at that time, it is a bit of a slow journey, but uneventful. But so I will say it was 8 o'clock. About 8. Probably 8:30. You all meet up at, let's say 9:30. You meet up at Blake's, because it would have been an hour or so. So we'll say you get to your destination of Ross's Corner another hour. So you're looking at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It is located a few miles west of Arkham. Elsie, being that you know the areas fairly well, you have no problem going there. The journey is very uneventful. No issues. Don't have any difficulties. It's just a pleasant journey. As you're getting closer, you kind of can see a little bit of farmland. So there's a lot of local farmhouses, farmland. As you're getting in, and slowly as you're getting closer into this into the town area, it's not very big. It's kind of like one of those little places where, if you're driving today on a highway, it's one of those places where if you kind of sneeze and blink your eye, you've already passed it as you go past via the freeway. It's very small community. You can see as you get there, there's a gas station as you're getting closer into the town itself, or the hamlet, better described. And as you all sort of get out to have a stretch and whatnot, you have a bit of a look around. Again, it's not very big. You can see that there's a church, just a singular building which acts as a general store / post office. Obviously, the gas station as well is there. You can see a milk depot, and obviously a couple of other little buildings scattered across. Notably, there is a sheriff's building as well, and what would be deemed as a community centre. As you get out, you can see a lot of people just walking around doing the day-to-day thing. They kind of all look at you, and it's a look where it's kind of a lot of uncertainty. It's kind of like one of these towns where strangers are not unwelcome, but you get the impression that they are kind of suspicious of what you're doing here. They're just not paying really any mind. That you kind of get the odd occasional glance from a couple of the, particularly some of the older gentlemen that you can see out in front of one of the stores in chairs and whatnot. They're having the conversation, and as you guys are walking past, you kind of get that look where it's kind of like, what are you guys doing here?
Elsie.
It's called. Sorry, Elsie. Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Elsie, after we get some gas, would probably want to go to the general store and ask about Meriwether's. But I'm gonna ask them all to come with me because I don't know, these people look a bit.
Yep. Yep. No, that's fine. Okay, so you walk into the general store / post office. You can see a short-statured lady, kind of what you would expect of a working class person. Her dress is very long. It's black. You can see that she has an apron around her, and her back is currently to you guys. The moment you walk through the door, the little bell rings to let her know that the door has been opened. You turn around and pleasantly greets you and welcomes you in. Asks if there's anything that you would, are you here to purchase anything? Can I help you?
Who is the most attractive of us? I'm gonna push Donald a little forward and say, Donald, here, my friend would like to ask about the old Meriwether house that we wanted to go and visit, didn't you, Donald?
Yes. The old Meriwether house. Do you have any idea where that may be?
Yes. So what is your appearance, Donald?
Extremely well dressed.
As in your stat appearance.
Huh?
Your
stat appearance. 70.
70. Okay, cool. And you're very well dressed. Yeah, look. She looks at you. She looks at you up and down. I mean, Elsie, you're a bit of a looker as well.
Lady.
And
she pushes me forward. Jeez.
Yes, but of that time, she'll be more geared towards your appearances and your looks and such. Talks about, so you're talking about the Meriwether farm. He goes, yes. You know that originally belonged to a Bradley Washington.
Bradley Washington, you say?
Yes. They purchased to start their own farm, you see. And it was built in 1816. Very lovely place. Washington established very healthy farm. It was wheat, corn, some livestock, general kind of things. But not long after that, his wife Sarah joined him, and she started to plant flowers and vegetable gardens. It really, really started to be a very profitable little farm. And there was this lovely bench swing. It was an anniversary gift. Very beautiful.
Is there any other information you can give us? Like, why did they sell if it was so profitable?
Well, you see, after a while, his wife unfortunately contracted pneumonia, and
very sad to hear.
It forced him to, take her to Boston for treatment because you can see here we're not very well established. We only have the basics here, so you have to go to the big cities. You see, where you can get the best medical treatment possible, and you have to put up the farm as collateral to help pay for the medical bills.
I see.
Eventually, he lost the property, and the bank then sold the property to a Rupert Merriweather and some other people, but Rupert was the name on the deed, and very, very strange young men they were. They rumored of talking mumbo jumbo and spells and rituals and all sorts of nonsense.
Very weird indeed.
You would never thought that. They look very upstanding young men. You would never have thought anything of the like, and very strange. And then one day they just up and left. We haven't seen them for many a year now.
Interesting. But by any chance, have there been any unusual happenings around the area?
Well, funny you mentioned that. It's only just come to our attention that one of our locals, a woman by the name of Maggie McFurter, went out after dark last night.
Oh, last night you say?
To check on her horses, and she hasn't returned. Like, she hasn't been seen. It could be, it could be anything. She may have just gone for a wander, or, she does this every now and then. But, for her to be gone this long, obviously was a little bit of a concern for her husband. And my husband, the sheriff, just told me of the story not long ago. So,
your husband's name?
They just call him Pa Peters.
And might I inquire on your name? Seeing I apologize for not asking sooner.
Oh, that's all right, young man. Mine. They just call me Ma Peters.
All right, right you are, Ma Peters.
But just don't take any note of the folk around here. Any sort of suspicious looks that you may get. Folk are a little shy about newcomers to our hamlet, and people just come and go.
What does Miss McFurter look like, anyways, in case we see her?
Oh, well, she's a little bit taller than me, and kind of gives a sort of a rough indication. She has very long black hair, beautiful blue eyes, like they shine like sapphires. If you look at it, if the sun hits them in the right angle, they're very, 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 very beautiful. I mean, it's just her face. Look, I mean, look. And she kind of has a look around to see if there's anyone else there, but obviously you guys are the only one in there. She's not much of a looker though. Is there anything else?
Excuse me, ma'am. Mr. Rawlins, pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Yes, sir.
You said Mrs. McFurder went missing last night.
Yes.
Does she live close to the Merriweather house, by any chance?
Yes, they're the farmhouse before the old Merriweather farm.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Excuse me, Ma. My name is Miss Shea. I was wondering, do you happen to know at what time that Miss McFurder went missing?
Well, we don't have a time. Like I said, she went out to check on the horses, to make sure that they're okay for the evening, and she hasn't been seen in the morning.
Does she have a usual time that she goes and checks on the horses? I'm just inquiring as to whether this is a routine that she would normally have, and as to whether it was a couple of hours before her husband noticed that she was missing, or whether he didn't know until the morning.
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact details of when that happened, but she definitely.
I'm sure your husband would have all that details. Yes.
Yes. If he's in the office, he may be off doing rounds and such. But the horses were a regular thing. She loved the horses. It was what I understand one of her comforts. So yes, it was a regular thing that she would do. It was kind of, I guess you could say, her regular routine or a regular chore.
Elsie is gonna buy a whole handful of hard candies just out of guilt, since we're bothering this woman. And then once she purchases them, I hand it to Wilfred, because old people love hard candies. So.
Blake would also purchase a couple of packs of cigarettes as well.
Thank you. I do. Thank you. To take the.
Just to be polite and all,
yeah. Yeah.
So you what are you asking about the old farmhouse?
Mr. Blake would have more information on that, I believe.
Mr. Rupert. Well, Rupert was a friend of ours, and he's asked to take care of some of his affairs.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're going to the farmhouse, you need to go onto Boone Road for a couple of miles. Go north out of town. That's where you find Boone Road. And then you'll need to turn left down a path for about 2 miles. And the path just comes after an old tree damaged by lightning. And not far after that, you'll find the house on the roadside there.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right. So.
Have a pleasant afternoon.
And I hope you find everything you need to look for and sort out your affairs. But if that's all, I better get back to stock take and such. Lovely meeting you all.
No, nice meeting you.
And Ma turns back to putting the money into the till and just making a little note of what was purchased and such, and goes about her business for the day, again turning her back to you all.
Well, maybe we
Well, now I know where we need to go.
Are we gonna look into this missing woman?
I mean, do we think it's pertinent to our investigations at this point?
At this
I think
stage,
we can
don't.
assume that it's got something to do with the house.
I assume she's missing due to whatever is going on at this farmhouse. That's for sure.
Good luck
She does
around.
live in close proximation.
Do we want to go see the sheriff if we can find him?
Do we really need to involve the law here for the time being?
I'd not really like to talk to any coppers right now till, after, unless something happens or something.
Very well.
I mean, after all, our investigation is not looking for missing ladies. Forgive my bluntness.
That is true.
And did everyone forget that there was that person that was at breakfast? So we don't not want to be having people.
Were we followed by any chance? Did anyone check behind us?
We weren't followed at all.
Not that you're aware of.
If someone is following us and they wish to remain hidden, they could probably do so. I have had many a time where I've had to remain incognito. It's not exactly difficult to do, but many of us are armed. And he looks over at Lenora, knowing she's definitely armed, and also Wilfred. So if we do happen to come across an undesirable, I'm sure we can handle it.
Well, I guess, and off to the farm.
Yes, off to the farm, just far enough that nobody will be able to hear our blood-curdling screams.
Thanks, Wilfred.
You will
Yeah.
be fine, Wilfred. You will be fine.
Not worry about me, dear. Not at all.
That would be assuming you even have time to scream, Wilfred.
Quite right.
I'm gonna-
So we're leaving this woman to her fate then?
You assuming the whole town's gonna get taken over? I mean, it's just a little superstition, haunted house thing, right?
Look, worst case, if we go to this farmhouse and find whatever's going on and
Walking and talking, by the way.
sorting it out, we can always look for her after.
I will pay the man who has washed my windshield and done the gas for me and get us in all into the car.
And Blake will tip the man $1 as well.
It's more than I make in a week. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably more than he makes in a month. So.
True, very true.
I start sneakily putting money back in Elsie's handbag.
Okay.
So,
While in the car traveling to wherever we need to go, Blake would just ask everybody. So, as per the journal, we're dealing with what is commonly known as a Djinn. How many of you know what a Djinn is?
oh, I love gin.
Gin is what we drink, isn't it?
That's a tonic. It's good.
I thought as much.
Little ice.
If memory serves me correctly, a djinn, a genie, they offer wishes to people who control them or some sort.
That is, I mean, you are correct in some of that, Mr. Whatever your name is, Donald. They don't, I mean, granting wishes is one way of putting it, but they're not always so polite.
My bottle of gin never grants me wishes. Maybe I. Yep,
Wrong
you-
wrong spelling, Miss Shea. Wrong spelling.
wrong
Oh.
spirit also.
Oh wow!
Shay.
It's a
A
spirit
gin
nonetheless.
spelled DJINN. It is as Donald has put there, commonly known as a genie. They have evolved over the years through superstition and through fiction to be turned into something far less dangerous than what they really are.
They have ties in Islamic faith, actually.
What
Quite correct.
nursery rhyme books were you guys brought up on? Like, I never read anything with gin in it, unless it was the alcohol.
You've heard of a genie, however,
Yes.
Miss Shane. Same thing, but darker.
Okay. I still don't believe in genies.
Yeah, well, the gin will believe in you. I can tell you that much.
Well,
And if this diary is even remotely correct, this particular one is quite nasty.
fabulous. Can't wait to meet it.
Driving down towards Boone Road. Driving and talking.
Oh. All right.
Like, keep an eye out for the lightning-struck tree.
Yep, very. Again, you head north out of town as you were directed. You take the left. Go down for the 2 mile or the 3.2 kilometers for those who wanted the conversion.
I mean, the US is still in the dark ages.
Hey!
and yeah, on the left you see the lightning, the tree, or it's more of a stump now. It's very blackened, but you can clearly see that the house or the tree is there. You start moving down the road at a very, 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 very slow pace. You see the farmhouse sits back away from the Boone Road down an overgrown path. As noted, you see the dead, blackened, lightning-struck tree, which marks the turn-off for the path to the farmhouse. It doesn't take you much longer to see the farmhouse past the tree. The road is wide enough for the car to go through. It's very, very overgrown. You can clearly see there are a lot of weeds. And the track to the farmhouse, again, overgrown. As Mark Peters says, it definitely doesn't look like it's been occupied for many a year. And to the back of the farmhouse, you can just see the outline of a large barn. The house itself, Elsie, do you have the picture of the house?
Yes.
That we can show the viewers and our investigators?
There you go.
The house is of 18th century salt box design with a high peak roof. The windows are flanked by sagging shutters. As you get closer to the house and you bring up the car, I would say, that's not what I want.
How close do you guys want me to pull into this place, or should we just stop at the road?
Yeah, let me know where you plan to get out of the car.
probably leave the car on the road, unless. How much room is there to get the car up close to the house?
You'll be able to get the car roughly about here.
I'll leave it up to you, Miss Elsie.
I'm gonna pull up a bit closer, so I'll bring the car about towards the swing.
Yep. Okay. So you all, yep. If you can move everybody over. Yep.
Everybody closer. Yep.
Yep. Thank you. So yeah, as you get out of the car, out of the vehicle, and again start stretching your legs and whatnot, a closer look at the house. Most of the windows are broken. The ones that are still relatively intact are filthy, resemble frosted glass due to the years of dirt and dust that have accumulated. It's a single-story structure that you can see. Just your initial look, you can't see any windows on the top half of the house. The roof itself is a little bowed, but all the shingles are intact. The interesting thing that you all sort of note as if you were driving along, you could hear above the noise of the engine, you could hear, birds singing. You can see, rabbits and such running around in the fields. The moment you get out of the car, you didn't notice it at first, but the whole place is just an unsettling atmosphere. You hear no bird song in the trees, just the sound of branches swaying in the breeze. As you just get the feeling that the house is just waiting for you.
I shudder and have goosebumps. Whew, this place just does not seem right.
Wilfred will be loading his Colt revolver with the bullets. It is unsettling, definitely.
I agree.
And with that,
You'll see Blake again reach to his tie, just under his tie. He's grabbing at something under his shirt.
I'll start walking around the house.
Okay. Where do you go?
Hang on. Yep, that one. Nope, can't move. I can't move. All right.
Why can't you move?
I don't know.
It says it's set to combat turns. It's not our turn.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, when you try to move, it says movement is set to combat turn. It's not currently your
Put you
turn.
in combat and then take you out of combat.
We're about to die and we don't even know it.
There you go. Now try.
There we go. There we go.
I think it was
There
the
we go.
battle tester screen when we're still in combat.
Probably.
Yeah, so
Oops.
up that way.
I just want to unlock that and I'll be happy.
Yep.
So that's Donald. Okay.
I go to the boot.
Actually, I'd probably go with Donald, actually, thinking about it.
Okay.
I'll stick with Donald. Just a slow perimeter of the house. Is that what you're looking at,
Yeah.
Donald?
Alright.
I'll be right behind you, Donald.
Okay.
Just take this nice and easy.
Elsie, are you where you are?
I am where I am. I do not want to go alone. I'm just looking at the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the garden.
Wilfred and Leonora, where are you guys?
I go to the boot of the car and open it up and get out baby.
Okay.
But best not to wander around alone, Miss Lake, and I'll go and stand by Miss Lake.
Okay. So we'll start with Donald and Blake. As you're walking around, the path is, again, very, very overgrown. Probably about well and truly above ankle height. Probably for you, Blake, being so tall, probably a little bit lower than your kneecap. For you, Donald, it's probably about kneecap high. You can see the farmhouse. And to your, well, I'm going to say to your, if you're facing that way, I'm going to say to your left, you can see the barn.
Which is where on the map, just so we can, because we can't actually see anything outside of our vision. Just up there, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So if you move a little bit further up.
Right. Cool.
Yep,
Just
you'll
to
see the
unlock that
barn. Yep. I would say
Cool.
at the time of day that you are at, you would have easily seen the barn. As I described. You saw it as you were driving down the path past the lightning tree. So you definitely know it's there. So you guys going around the farmhouse still, or are you going towards the barn?
Just make a circuit of the house, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, circuit of the house and
just looking at the windows, just seeing if we can see any movement.
Yep.
Hear any type of sound coming from the house.
Yep. Okay.
Sort of just getting a lay of the land almost.
Like I said, most of the windows are broken as described earlier, and again, the ones that are intact, very frosted glass style due to the dirt and dust accumulated over the years. What I would like both of you to roll at this particular point, as you've walked around the house or the perimeter of the house, can you do a spot hidden roll?
Nope, I'm useless at that shit. I don't think I've succeeded on a roll yet without luck or anything else.
So, am I able to push it or use luck?
So how badly did you fail? Like, are you only a couple of points over, or was it like
probably about 7?
Okay, you have the same option as Evil. You can spend 7 luck points to make that a success, or if you re-roll, you may have a chance of success, but if you fail, something a little bit more drastic may or may not happen.
I'll do the luck, so I'll add to it.
All right, so take off 7 luck points. As you've walked around the house, you've noticed the first, it didn't really click to you at first as you walked around the side towards the back. Maybe because you were sort of somewhat distracted by the barnyard and just sort of more focusing on what's around you. But as you looked at the house, you can see on the outside, you can see very strange markings. From what you can see, they only appear around the windows and the frames of the doors.
Mr. Rawlings, can you see that on the walls of this building? Strange markings.
Huh? Oh, sorry, I was a little distracted.
Similar to the markings, I believe, that are on the sarcophagus, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're not. They're
No?
Nothing like the markings on the sarcophagus.
Okay, my mistake.
Was there any mention of, because they did talk about binding it at some point that it was bound to the house. So there wasn't any mention in the journal about them, what they had done specifically.
Make an occult roll for me, please. Both of you, either yourself, Blake,
This is
and
not
Donald.
going to be good. Oh shit! I actually got a success.
Excellent.
Just a regular.
That's fine.
That's a fail.
That's a fail. Okay.
The stray cat ran in somewhere too.
Blake, you recognize these as warding sigils.
Well, I'll be. He's, if I'm not mistaken, wardings against, I would say barrier spells of some description. Maybe to stop something from getting in or out.
You know from the journal as well that it was mentioned that Marion had warded the farmhouse to stop the entity.
Okay, from getting out. So, I mean, if we go back around the farmhouse, are all the windows and doorways are all inscribed and they're all intact?
Yes. Even though the wear and tear of the house and how dilapidated it has over the years, the sigils are in perfect condition.
Well, that's at least some form of comfort. If these sigils are doing what they're supposed to do, then this thing is still inside the house, I believe.
You also note that the back door was open as you were walking between where you saw the barn and the back of the house.
Do you think we should investigate the barn?
I think we should stick together as a group. I don't really feel comfortable with us all separated like this.
It's daylight. What can happen in the daylight?
You are a reasonably learned individual, Donald. I think you know the answer to that without even really asking the question.
All right, let's catch up with the others, see what they want to do.
Indeed. And we'll rejoin the others.
At which point, Elsie, being that this is, we're in the summer of 1923, you can see that there's a lot of open ground in the area. It's covered in, again, a mixture of weeds, but also the wildflowers. You also take note here that there is sort of like what appears to be a vegetable garden. You recall from Ma Peters that that the previous occupants grew vegetables here. The flowers have spread across the area, but I want you to roll a spot hidden for me, please, Elsie.
Okay. Oh no!
Oh.
Oh no!
Can I push it? I'm gonna get down on my knees. I'll validate this.
Yep.
Because I
Holy
want
shitballs.
to see if we can have some vegetables. Any still growing?
Careful there, Miss Lake. You don't want to fall and hurt yourself.
We've got rations, but I just want to see if we can maybe have anything if we're gonna stay. Oh crap!
Oh crap!
You first look, you stumble, you trip over a bit of root of a plant that you just didn't see because of the length of the grass and the weeds, and you kind of you start to stumble, but you manage to catch yourself. But which is the reason why Wilfred warned you of careful where you step. But your next step, unfortunately, you just fall down. You just fall on the ground. You fall on your hands and knees. You get a bit of a mouthful of weed and the wildflowers in your mouth as you kind of and just hit the deck.
I rush over to Elsie. Oh, Elsie dear, are you okay? And I check her ankles and brush off the weeds and make sure that she's okay. Do I have first aid and medicine. Do I need to roll anything?
She appears okay. It's just like a little stumble. But for those who are in the area, including yourself, Lenora, Wilfred, you can as well. Can you roll spot hidden?
I'm not sure I want to. I keep failing.
I don't get to roll anymore because I'm face planted. Oh
Hard
my
success.
god.
Oh, sorry, no, normal success.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Use what a band from rolling.
Oh, yeah, I better roll mine. Nah,
Lenora
Alright.
says something.
I don't want to see anything, man.
Hey, as Elsie falls the first time, Wilfred goes, "Watch your step, young lady." And as he goes to try and, support you, he kind of loses his balance as well. But he doesn't fall down, but it's enough for him to sort of lose his balance. But
Blake would step forward to try and steady him.
Yeah,
stop him from falling.
yeah, Blake and Donald, you kind of just sort of reach out to support him.
You're right there, Wilfred. A little unsteady on your feet there, sir.
Yes, it seems there's many dangers out here. I might be a danger to myself. Miss Lake, are you all right?
Yeah.
Do you need a hand to get up, Elsie?
Yeah. Then
And
take a
Blake
step.
could put out a hand. Yeah,
Thank you.
being the eternal gentleman that he is.
Thank you, Mr. Rawlings.
So as you're helping up Elsie, Lenora, as you sort of bent down to, assess the ankle, leg, anything of that nature, you kind of look towards the vegetable garden, or what's left of the vegetable garden, and you notice there are some well-grown vegetables that can be still found in the garden plot itself. You walk a little bit closer, but you notice that there's like a strange depression where some of the weeds and the taller grass have kind of taken over. And curiosity gets the better of you, and you walk over, and laying in the knee-high grass, you see a dead raccoon.
Oh, damn. It's not what I wanted to see right now. We have a dead raccoon over here, and by golly, does it smell horrible.
It certainly does. It's been there for a while.
It's probably well past putting in a pot for dinner then.
Oh,
Does it look like it's been ritually sacrificed or experienced strange phenomenon, Lenora?
I don't know what you're on about, Mr. Swanson. Maybe you or Mr. Rawlings might know that better.
I mean, it does smell kind of whiffy.
I mean, you would probably smell bad too if you were dead.
I wouldn't smell anything if I was
Lenora's
dead.
gonna go look and see. Make sure she didn't trip on it. Not the flowers.
No. you managed to navigate okay, and again you can see the carcass of the dead raccoon just laying there as Leonora is just kind of looking at it and going, this is just not my day. What do you do?
I go into my bag with baby and pull out my marital aid and just poke at
Oh
the
my
dead.
God! Why do you have a dick in your bag, Nora?
Well, Mr. Swanson left it on my bedside cupboard, and I just thought that it might come in handy. What do you know?
I'm afraid the magic doesn't quite work like that. It's it's not going to bring it back to life. Miss Shay. Sorry if I've misled you.
What do we need?
Blake raises an eyebrow and says nothing.
Put that away. Put it up. Shh. Mr. Swanson, what do we need to look for to see if they're originally what did you say? What you materials?
I mean, I was in jest, but perhaps we could. I mean, they only live
I'm not in
2 to 3.
No.
It's probably for the best. They only live 2 to 3 years in the wild. Raccoons are not known to have very long life cycles. Is there anything about it now that we're looking at it that seems like it might have been?
Yeah,
it's been poked by a marital aid.
Yes, with the excessive poking, it's enough to roll the carcass over a little bit, and
that would release the smell even worse.
it certainly does. But Wilfred's instincts was right. You can see. Well, I wouldn't say right. You can see that the animal's breast is stained with clotted blood, and there definitely is a large hole bored into its chest. If anyone wants to make either a science biology roll, a medicine, or a natural roll, you may be able to determine what has happened.
Let's have a look at what I've got here.
No.
Sorry, Keeper, what was that? My computer froze and missed everything you said.
Are you good at science, Nora, or medicine, or survival? Maybe we can see.
So with your excessive poking with the marital aid, giggity, the body or the carcass of the raccoon moves over, and you can see a lot of clotted blood and a hole bored into the raccoon's chest.
I'll roll a first aid.
You can roll a science, biology, medicine, or natural world roll if you want to try and determine what may have happened.
I'd like to roll a medicine roll.
I'll roll, because what's the worst that could happen?
Yep, I'm not rolling anything. I'm not good at any of that stuff.
Yeah, no.
That was
Jeez.
Blake will take out his notebook and write down anything we find.
Oh, wow. Wilfred.
Nice.
Jeez.
I only had a 10.
Holy shit, man.
I know.
I mean,
I thought,
why not?
as you said, it's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Hey,
What
better to roll and fail than not roll at all.
That's it. Natural world. Okay, so Wilfred, your instincts kind of just kicked in, and you had a look.
Actually, I can roll that too. Nope.
And you determined the animal's ribs were wrenched apart, and you kind of thought, "But that's not right." And then you kind of get in for a bit of a closer look, and you're brave, and you kind of put your hand inside in the cavity, and you can see that its heart has been neatly scooped out. Now, you're thinking to yourself at this point, a fox could have done this.
Well, you're really getting in there, ain't you,
Ooh.
Wilfred?
Mr. Swanson.
Sometimes you have to get in real close to see the truth of a thing.
And what truth did you discover?
Well, it's got no heart, Mr. Rawlings. Everything else seems to be here. I mean, I'm not a biologist by any means, but...
I mean, another animal, perhaps? I mean, foxes, coyotes probably roam these parts.
I feel like they would have taken the whole animal, though. Don't you? I mean,
Yes.
why...
Yeah, I suppose it would.
You would feel, Wilfred, that if this was done by a wild animal, you would have figured there would be more jaggedness to not only the wound, but the removal of the heart. But because you put your hand inside, like to have a look around, or the feel around, if you will, you just feel that it's just too smooth. Like everything about the wound is just too smooth to suggest that a wild animal could have done this.
It's not right. To have the strength to rip open the ribs, even of an animal this small, and to scoop so precisely. It's fascinating in its
Hang on a moment, and
grotesqueness.
Blake will start flipping back through his notes.
Yeah,
Um,
thinking.
He would go back through his notes several pages till he finds the notes on the police report about the missing heart from Marion Allen, and he would point that out to everyone. This is not dissimilar to Mr. Allen's demise. His heart was also removed in a similar fashion.
Wasn't the tongue and stuff cut out of that newspaper clipping in the journal too?
Indeed it was. Wilfred, can you, you've already got your hand in there. I mean, why not proceed further?
I mean, I feel like a raccoon probably wouldn't be doing much talking, but I reach for the mouth and pry it open.
Tongue is there.
It's worth a shot.
You feel, Blake, that with what you recall and this, then they are very similar in nature, but you also have to remember that Marion Allen's demise was in New Orleans. This is
Miles away.
this is in completely different state, like many miles away. So, but you're looking at, it was like 1877-ish. So
Yeah.
there has been some time between events.
Yeah. It's sort of looking at ritualistically similar, just sort of tying events together.
Yes, correct.
Well,
So-
I mean, if you wish to keep playing with the raccoon, that's up to you, Mr. Wilfred. I mean, I will record what we've found here. If you like, I'll even take a photograph so we can maybe study it later.
Yeah, that would be quite okay. I think I've got quite enough blood on my hands for right now. And Miss Shea, you really shouldn't be using it like that. There's a proper technique, and it's not that.
Well, I don't know quite what you expected me to use it for, Mr. Swanson. So I figured poking a dead raccoon was as good as any.
There's a well over there if you wanna. Well, I don't.
Yeah, you might want to go clean yourself up.
Should we look around
Mi-
further?
Blake would take out his camera and take probably get Wilfred, because his hands are already dirty, to lay the raccoon out so he can take a photo of the wound and the interior. Probably not using a flash bulb because it'd be enough sun. What sort of time of day are we looking at, and the sort of conditions? Would he have to use a flash bulb or not?
So you would have arrived at Ross's Corner about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It probably took maybe, being in the car, and the car speed would be a little bit faster than walking distance. For only, a couple of mile, would have taken you maybe less than half an hour. So you're looking at this point about midday to 1 p.m.
No worries. So there'd be enough sunlight
Yeah,
to take the photo.
yeah. Particularly if you probably want to get it out onto the path rather than leaving it in there. But there's plenty of light source for you to take your photograph with without the need of a flash bulb.
Cool. And Blake will do that. Would you like me to roll a photography roll?
Go for it.
Why not? I've got it. So I'm probably going to fail it, just so you know.
Pose the raccoon, just so.
Pose it in a typical Aleister Crowley-like fashion with the marital aid.
Ugh.
Well, that would be a regular success.
Yep, no problems. I mean, you get out there, you make sure everybody's fair enough distance, so they're not casting any shadows with the sun. So you get yourself in the right stance and the right angle, so you yourself are not casting any shadows over it. You take your photo, no problems.
I walk with Mr. Swanson over to the well to clean this poking stick.
Yep. The water well, there's definitely water still inside it. The only thing that you can take note of is that there currently is like debris and rubbish just floating on the top. But it looks like it's drinkable water otherwise. So you'll wash your hands and get yourself sorted.
Yeah.
Make yourselves a little bit, more cleanly.
But going to speak to a Djinn, I'd like to be presentable.
You are looking mighty fine, I must say, Mr. Swanson.
All right. I suppose we need to decide what we're going to do next. We maybe check out the barn, or do we want to go directly into the house and start our investigations inside?
Well,
apparently everything we need is here in the house
back
already.
door is open, so there may be something or someone inside.
Didn't the journal say that there was some wardings on the house, correct?
Indeed. It seems all the windows and doors have inscriptions of some description on there, which is supposed to keep this thing tied to the house.
Well, then maybe we should check out the house first.
I'd like to check the barn out just in case there's other people around, maybe.
Oh, well,
Call me suspicious.
Maybe we might.
You are very suspicious, Donald, but you're probably quite correct.
Yes, perhaps we check out the barn. I think most of what we need to do will probably be in the house, and if it gets too dark, it's probably best to be within the house and about our task.
And with the car being very close to the house, it would make for a swift getaway if need be.
Getting my torch and readying my When I'm behind the car, I'm going to reach up on my garter and start putting bullets into my little tiny gun I got hidden in there. Pull my
Okay.
skirt down.
No worries. So you're all going to the barn?
Indeed.
All right. So again, you can see that the barn is fairly well collapsed. You can definitely go inside if you so wish, but it's definitely broken down, fallen in some areas. You can see in some places there's firewood. You can grab firewood if need be. Does anyone go inside?
Mm-mm.
How stable does it look? If we've got collapsed parts, does the barn itself look stable enough to enter, or
Yes.
are we looking at something that may be about to collapse?
It's still like it's safe enough to enter. It's not like you're going to sneeze and it's going to collapse on you. It's you can see that towards the back, that's where the most of the collapsed part of the barn is, but the rest of it is looking very stable.
Okay, so we're looking at typical barn, double barn doors.
Yep.
So we can pretty much see just about everything from the door, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see as you open up the doors, there's again, you can see that the structure is pretty well intact, other than what I said, the back of the barn where it's collapsed. You can see in some parts of the floor, it's there's lots of debris, lots of tools, lots of equipment, just strewn across the place, either due to where the building has collapsed, or just the previous occupants have basically just used it and grabbed what they've needed and never really kept it in a neat and tidy order.
It doesn't look like anything too interesting in here.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, I think that's pretty much all the area we need to look at.
Yeah, it would be a bright shame to come all the way out here and die in a mundane barn collapse.
I mean, it looks stable enough, but there is sections that have broken away. I don't know. I don't think we need to take the risk. I think we should maybe head inside the house and start finding out what is exactly going on here.
All right. So as you turn to walk back towards the house, you kind of hear a couple of scurries here and there, and you just see a couple of rats just running across the floor into some piled up hay, or what's left of the piled up hay, and some of the fallen down timber and such. But you move towards the farmhouse. As mentioned, Blake and Donald will know that the back door is open.
We'd probably head in that direction then. I would let them know back door's already open, so we might as well start there.
Okay. So you walk into the building via the entry of the back door. It's wide, like it's wide open.
And I'd assume it's fairly dark in the house, even during the day.
There's enough light coming in, but yes, it's because this house is very run down. There's no electricity or anything like that. As you walk in via the back door, you see a fireplace here. If that's where you're all standing.
Blake would probably go in
I'm gonna
first.
go. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
follow everyone else with my torch.
Yep.
I've lost
Oh,
my
shit.
character. I'm controlling Elsie now.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I'll turn around so you can see yourself.
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go.
You.
I'm back.
I'll go in.
So you see a fireplace. Here you see kind of like a very, very rough sleeping arrangement. There's blankets and such. There's a makeshift pillow over here. You can clearly see there's also like a plate over here. To your right, you can see a table with a chair, and then there's what appears to be another room. For those, everybody entering through via the back door, can you roll a spot hidden roll for me, please?
Oops.
My favourite role.
What did I do? Oh, that wasn't me. Okay.
Oh, I see nothing, as usual.
Spot hidden. No.
Okay. All looks normal as you enter through the back door. Roughly where Blake is, if you look up to the roof, you can see that there is a trap door leading up to the attic.
Can we hear anything at this point inside the house? Besides us.
Besides you?
Like, cause, I think in the journal it was mentioned that goings on could be heard upstairs when they're in the house.
Mm-hmm. Make a listen roll.
Ooh, listen roll. How do we do that? Where's that?
That is
Should be
Found
in
it.
your skill list.
Found it. This will be a terrible roll.
Can all of us do that, or
Can I
just
also make a listen?
Anyone who wants to listen.
I want to listen.
That was terrible. Apparently, my listening skills are not too great as a reporter.
Oof.
Apparently, we're all deaf as a post.
Oh, Donald
except
here.
me?
Oh, except for old Donald over here has got freaking super hearing.
Yep.
You hear nothing from this part of the room,
Oh, no.
or from what you can tell from the attic.
I passed as well.
Elsie is gonna look for like a lantern or candles or something. It's a house, so they probably left some kind of a.
I mean, we
There's a
brought lanterns
fireplace.
with us.
Yeah, I just want to set it on the table.
Yep.
I'll set my lantern on this table.
Okay, you can definitely set your lantern on that table if you wish.
That way I'll keep a light.
As you put the lantern down, Elsie, you see there's a walking stick on the table. There is a large piece of worn and wrinkled fabric on which rests a half full penny box of wooden matches. There's a piece of soap. There's a tin cup, a screwdriver, a can opener, a jackknife, and the stub of a candle.
Guys, there's some stuff here you can clean off your hands with Mr. Swanson?
No, I'm
So-
quite all right, my dear. I washed my hand in the well and I had a little bit of cloth in my bag. It's fine. But thank you.
Maybe they left their things.
I pick up the walking stick and look at it and go, oh, look, another poking stick.
I think you've poked enough
Um,
anymore.
Leonora, can you roll a spot hidden because you weren't here when I got everybody else to roll one? No, okay. Also, for reference, being in this room, roughly where Blake is standing, where I'm pinging the map, you see a trap door leading up to an attic. Just in case you weren't here for that part of that conversation as well.
Should we look up there?
Well,
Maybe
maybe we look down here first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should investigate down here first. Find anything we need to find out where they perform this ritual, perhaps, if
Yep.
it was even on this floor.
Well, they mentioned a fireplace where they did symbols, so I'm assuming it's that fireplace. Maybe we can look around.
I would assume so. I mean, it's been a number of years since this happened, so any evidence may not even be here. But they did. He did say that everything we needed would be here, somewhere.
All right, so do you move into the next room?
Indeed.
I would like to, well, I'm assuming because I haven't put the stick down, I still have hold of it. Sort of poke at the mat or blanket on the floor and lift it up.
You do that with no problems, and there's
Nothing there?
nothing underneath it. It's just crumpled there in a just crumpled up in a bit of a mess.
Okay, no worries, thanks.
So for those who walk into the front room, it's definitely a room that has not been looked after for quite some time. It's very dirty, and it's fairly long as well, and long untouched. There is a bit of a foul odor that greets you as you walk into this room. You can't quite figure out what it is, but it's definitely not pleasant. But it doesn't make you want to go out and like throw up or anything to that nature.
Blake would lean over and sort of sniff towards Wilfred, knowing he'd handled a smelly dead raccoon. No, it's not. Something else here. I thought it might have been you still. But
Some dead mouse or something in the stove, maybe.
yeah, perhaps. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good either.
Looks like something's been eating the furniture in here.
So how many years has this place been empty? We would know that, roughly, wouldn't we?
The journal said 1877 was the last entry, so it's
So, yeah, so we're looking at
1925.
a lot of years, so
Yep.
the
And
place has been abandoned since then.
yeah, and that's definitely evident because the more you look around with your lanterns and such, you can see there's dust thickly on furniture, on the empty shelves. There's a lot of dead leaves and other debris covering the floor. You see near the front doorway, there's an iron stove resting against the wall, and the ventilation pipe still connected to the outside. You can also see a round table with chairs near the stove. The floor itself upon a closer look, is warped and stained. Very, very evident from water leaking through the roof and the ceiling. Rot has eaten away at tables and such. There's an old couch and a matching wing chair. You think maybe the smell is the smell of mold because of the water. And near the entrance to where you came in, there's a steep set of a flight of stairs leading down to a cellar.
Well, it doesn't seem to be much in here to speak of at this point. What do you all want to do?
Can you all make a listen roll?
Damn.
Come on. Yes. No, wait. That was somebody else.
Nope, that wasn't me. That was a
I passed.
extreme failure.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna push my luck.
I'm not even going to
One
try.
to get down to a success.
Oh, no, I'm Wilfred.
Oh, are you spending one luck point, Wilfred? Yep, fine. So both Wilfred and Lenora, you swear you hear scuffling coming down from the cellar area.
Oh.
I swear I hear some scuffling about over here. Maybe it's downstairs. Should we go have a look?
I mean, there might be rats down there.
Yeah, I don't think many cellars are without some sort of rodent activity.
Look, Mr. Swanson, you had your hands in a dead raccoon. How is a rodent going to scare you?
I didn't say I was scared, although I hope perhaps you won't poke anything down there. We could go down there if you like. I mean, we probably should inspect all areas of the house if we're to find the things we need.
I agree, and I cannot promise that I will not poke anything, but I will try my best.
Okay. So what are you all doing? What is your plan?
I start walking down the cell stairs.
Okay.
Watch your step, Miss Shea. This is an old house. You don't know what condition those stairs will be in.
As you're walking down with your lantern, Lenora, can you make a spot hidden roll, please? Okay.
Can I spend 4 luck to get it down to 50?
If that is what you want to do, you can.
Yep, and then that way I can see. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Sorry?
Do you want me to put just Lenora's token out?
Is everybody following?
We're all following, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, so as long as Lenora is first.
Thank you.
All right, so as you walk down with your lantern, with your roll, you hear a "Get away!" and you hear from your arm, you take 4 points of damage as you see a hobo with a table leg swinging at you. And that is where we'll end the session for tonight.
Not the only
Damn.
thing getting poked.
Damn hobos. Telling ya.
Bloody hobos, eh?
Hobos.
Yeah, you're going to have to poke that hobo next week.
That marital aid will come in handy.
Don't even keep that. Just throw that away. It's touched dead thing.
I washed it.
And a raccoon.
All right. So, by the looks of it, our investigators are going to have to continue this story next week.
Ooh.
Well done, team.
So, yes.
Thank you once again, everybody.
Well done, everybody. Now, I did figure out last week the usual favourite moments. So, I want to go, if we're keen for it. I know we're a little bit over time.
I'm going to be
And
awake half the night anyway, so I'm good.
I'm aware that Trashy probably has work and needs to go.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
I only work Fridays to Mondays.
Okay. All right. So
Pardon me.
yeah, we'll leave it there. I think that's a good spot to end the night.
Oh, definitely.
I will go to Lenora. You have a favourite moment from either tonight or last week?
Just everybody, me trying to keep a straight face and trying to talk, and if it wasn't members in the chat, thank you guys, paybacks for a bitch, it was the team members and their smart ass comments and just cracking me up all night. I appreciate it, guys. It got me into the correct mindset for the night. So
Excellent. Wilfred, can you share a moment from the 2 sessions that we've had?
I kind of just like the way people are very open to like bouncing off of some of the madness that's going on. I especially like some of the comments that Elsie's made back to Wilfred, and Mr. Rowling's like earnest kindness in listening to an old man's ramblings and being fascinated by them. It's definitely been a unique story so far. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So,
All right. Donald, can you share a favourite moment from the last 2 sessions?
Not so much a favourite moment, but a character I'm enjoying, Mr. Swanson. I love it, Grim. He's fucking awesome. I just love the absent-mindedness and everything like that. He's awesome.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right. Blake.
Yeah, much the same. Just the group dynamic, not just character-wise, but players-wise. We're obviously all comfortable enough with each other to be able to talk about marital aids and things without getting embarrassed or anything like that. So just it's become part of the story. But yeah, I think Wilfred, in the first episode, just randomly leaving this marital aid in Lenora's bedroom just cause, and just wandering around like he owns the place. But then and this session, just the conversation that back and forth with Blake and Wilfred at the house. Like, what Wilfred probably doesn't know is that Blake would be acting him to his own father, who he used to sit there and listen to stories with, because he was an author. So those kind of stories, ramblings, he's kind of used to hearing. So it would be a bit of a comfort to him. But the whole story so far is super cool. I'm really enjoying it.
Excellent. And Miss Elsie Lake,
Elsie,
can you share your favourite moment?
I'm gonna do 2. Actually, maybe 3 since I'm last. 1, giving weapon damage to said marital aid. That was hilarious. I love that joke. The keeper's patience on seeing the chat and keeping a straight face with us the entire time. Yeah. That is brave. Oof.
Well done.
And also, I like the conversation with Blake's mom. I thought that was really nice, their relationship and how they work together. So, those are mine.
I'll admit that. Sorry, I'll admit that 5 a.m. and not sleeping, thinking of that whole marital aid thing and having to message Magic.
It does help sleep. Yeah.
It's the best. And he's all right, gets it while he's at work. It's just like, sure.
Yep. It's kind of like I got the message and I'm sitting there and I'm going, why not?
Good morning.
Why not? I mean, and then I'm sitting here going, okay, then I'm going to have to apply damage to this if it's going to be used as a weapon. So it's kind of like, you know what? This is how much damage that this will do if you connect.
Fair enough too.
I mean, it is a magical weapon.
I mean, really.
Sexual magic.
Now, next week, we'll continue on with our story where our party has met a hobo downstairs and looking for what they need to find to be able to complete this task that Rupert Merriweather has tasked them. So we'll be here again same time next week, I hope, everybody, if you're ready for that.
I am available.
Like I said, this is no rush, so if this goes over again, so be it. I'm allowing our players to run with this as much as they like, but
We're running.
hopefully you will be soon.
I've got a feeling if there's any more steps involved, I might just fall down them.
We're definitely enjoying it. If it runs 2, 3, 5, if it runs 5 more sessions, I'm happy. I'm enjoying the story. Something a little different from D&D to what we usually do. So,
Absolutely.
All right.
Yanti, will you closing?
Yes, so we'll close. We will see you guys when we see you. Thank you for stopping in. Love your faces.